Hello everybody. Today I'm actually going to not really be making so much a reply video, such as a video picking up on my New Year's Eve video on why I became a Christian. There was a segment of that video I kind of glossed over where I basically just said, yeah, I became convinced that there was a God, but I didn't really quite explain how I came to that. So, this video is going to be about basically why I don't believe in atheism, why I came to that segment where I was convinced that there was a God. First things first is that atheism is useless. If you go to my Facebook page, and if you've ever talked about religion, you may know a quote from Isaac Newton, which says, "Atheism is so useless and odious, it never has had many professors." However, every white kid on YouTube with a British accent thinks that they're an atheist professor. Isaac Newton would be very, very, very upset if he saw this. So how did I come to the conclusion that there was in fact a God? Well, there's two things. One was the probability. Now, when you watch popular atheists, specifically like I have Matt Dillahunty and Aaron Ra, you're going to notice two things. One, Matt Dillahunty says, well, I don't know quite a lot, and Aaron Ra, as he explicitly said in his conversation with Eric Hernandez, he really thinks scientific evidence is really the only evidence worth being, convince-worthy. Logical evidence? Who needs logic? These atheists are scientific. See, I've kind of always noticed, and I think that's kind of what pushed me away from atheism, is that atheists, I can see why some people would almost call it a religion. It's not, I don't believe that, but they are very, very cult-like when it comes to science. Don't touch my science! And I think the reason why is because that's kind of all they have. Look at logical evidence, look at, some of the people out there who are even atheists who use logical evidence. Like, there are atheists out there that believe in a soul. And, atheists like to make that, well, that's a religious thing. But no, because there's this thing I like to go by, and it's called common sense rules. If common sense is pushing you toward a conclusion, you may not have the scientific evidence, but by all means, it wouldn't hurt to make an educated guess. Leading me back to my first one is, how did the universe have a beginning? The first thing I'm going to address here is the Kalam Cosmilogical argument. I'm not going to really get into too much of it, because I feel like if you're an atheist and a Christian, you definitely know this argument. It's one of the most popular ones. Dr. William Lane Craig used it in his debate against Christopher Hitchens. And I need to be honest, part of what made me so interested in this argument was that Christopher Hitchens didn't really respond to it or debunk it. The Kalam Cosmological argument is basically, well, we're here, there had to have been something before us, the universe has a cause, everything that begins to exist has a cause. So what was the cause of the universe? Now, in school, I was always taught the universe is not eternal, the Big Bang was the start of everything, including time, space, and matter. So if the Big Bang was the start of time, space, and matter, then whatever caused the Big Bang must be timeless, immaterial, and spaceless. In other words, it is not limited by these three things. Now, of course, as Aaron Ra pointed out, Some people disagree with this. And again, we have logical evidence that the universe is not eternal. It has not always been here. But of course, you know those atheists, they're too good for logic. But either way, imagine this. Who here likes Nintendo? Who here likes Mario? Okay, imagine Mario calls you one time, and he says, "It's me, Mario. I'm stuck in a pipe made out of infinity. Help me get out." Well, you know, that's quite the conundrum, because you're stuck in a pipe made out of infinity. Not only do I not know how you're going to get out of that pipe, but I'm actually pretty curious as to how you got in it. It's the logical contradiction of you can't cross infinity. Like, how did Mario even get stuck in that infinite pipe? How did he get into it? But of course, there's some scientific arguments too for the universe not being eternal. Mainly that the universe is running out of energy. Generally, if the universe is running out of energy, it's kind of like a wind-up toy. It was wound up, it's got energy. Now, it's running out of energy. It's like a wind-up toy running out of energy because it hasn't been wound up. And if the wound-up toy, the universe, was wounded up, who wound it up? It certainly isn't eternal. And somebody had to have been there to wind it up, give it energy in the first place. So that's the Kalam cosmological argument. That's a very condensed version. And I thought to myself, you know, this is a very convincing argument. Christopher Hitchens did not even respond to this. I went to Matt Dillahunty, and I wonder what he has to say on this. I don't know. Okay, well, that's to be expected at this point. But then I went on YouTube, and I'm like, there's gotta be an atheist who debunked this or something. And wouldn't you know, one of the very first videos to come up, our good buddy, Cosmic Skeptic. And I watched his video. It wasn't very long. And I'm going to go ahead and let him sum it up for you very quickly like this.
With the way, let's conclude with a summary of the Kalam cosmological argument. So here goes. Everything that begins to exist has a cause. I believe that there was a beginning, not only to everything within the observable universe, but to that universe itself and everything that does, can and will ever exist. Therefore, there must have been some kind of prime mover, and that prime mover was obviously the god of the religion in which I happen to have been brought up.
God, I hate it when atheists do that. You know, it's not just, oh, you know, it just so happens to be the religion in which I was brought up. That makes me so angry. So angry, I just wanna... Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. It's the entire Kalam cosmological argument from an atheist standpoint. You know what I've noticed about atheists in debating? Is there's a certain way you can know you get them on the ropes, when you got them on the ropes. One, the videos debunking your arguments won't be very long, and the comment section in the videos won't be so pious like it always is. In that video, if you go to it, it's not very long, and the comment section's a bit more tame. But either way, yes, the universe had a beginning, and the Big Bang, I've listened to atheists talk, went in particular is Lawrence Krauss. He actually published a book, A Universe from Nothing, to which, even atheists were like, misleading, clickbait, just not completely correct, like, at all. So I kind of read it, and I'm like, I didn't buy it, I read it. I read like little segments of it online, and I'm like, yeah, this isn't nothing. Dr. William Lane Craig, in his debate with Christopher Hitchens, actually pointed this out. If you believe in the universe from nothing, you are worse than somebody who believes in magic. That's that thing atheists are always going on about. You Christians believe in magic. Okay, no, but you see, here's the thing. If you believe in a universe from nothing, you actually believe in something worse than magic. Because see, with magic, when a magician pulls the rabbit out of the hat and makes the rabbit appear out of nowhere, you at least have the magician. If you believe the universe came out of nothing, well, you have essentially magic without even the magician, so that's actually worse. Christians, at least we have the magician. So, all in all, wasn't very convinced, and I did some background research into, like, the Big Bang and stuff like that, and the universe is expanding. And something I was interested in, I figured this out a long time ago, way back. It wasn't, the Big Bang is a mockery term. People didn't quite take it seriously. I believe it was Fred Hoyle who came up with the term. He came up with the term after a super smart scientific atheist came up with the proponent of the Big Bang. Oh, hold on, I must have read the script wrong. No, it wasn't an atheist, it was actually a Christian by the name of, hold on, let me try and not butcher this name. Georges Lumetier. Yes, I know I butchered that name anyways, but this was a Christian, a Catholic. I know I hate to give the Catholics credit for anything, but hey, you gotta give the devils their due. Yes, he was a priest, physician, astrophysicist, not physician, astrophysicist, and he came up with the term of the Big Bang. Now, if you're like me, you probably thought to yourself once or twice, the Big Bang's a pretty funny thing to say in science. Everything else is in Latin, and in a unit of measurement system we don't even use. Like, Big Bang, what's the cost of that term? Well, actually, it was coined by Fred Hoyle, an atheist who rejected it. It was a mockery term. The Big Bang was not meant to be taken seriously. That's why it sounds so fun to say. So, why didn't he and other atheists really want to accept the Big Bang, despite all the evidence for it? Well, ladies and gentlemen, if we look at one of Fred Hoyle's good buddies, John Maddox, who was an atheist writer and science writer, he basically came out and said, it gives too much justification to the creationists. You know what's really funny? I was in a debate one time, on Facebook of course, and we were talking about the prophecy of Daniel. And I said that the only reason people date the prophecy of Daniel so late is because they don't want to accept that it's a prophecy. And the atheist says, Trey, don't you think that if people were to see the evidence, they would become convinced of it? Don't you think that would be enough to turn anybody? And I said no, because if there's one thing I've learned from anti-vaxxers, if you want to deny something, you can deny it. Come hell or high water. And this right here is the perfect example of that. We have John Maddox basically saying, yeah, we can't accept this. It gives the creationists too much credit. Keep that in mind next time an atheist tries to sit there and tell you that Christians are invading science. They're trying to steal it. Or, no, we're not trying to steal it. We're trying to take it back. It was the Christians who invented the modern-day concept of science, the scientific method, all that stuff that the atheists blah, blah, blah on about. It was actually the Christians who invented that. So we're not trying to steal it, unless, of course, you count stealing it back. Now, so it seems the universe did in fact have a beginning, and it seems as though the Big Bang, scientific and logical evidence, even though I know the atheists like Aaron Ra don't care about logical evidence, the universe was not eternal. Now, I am well aware that there are people out there who believe otherwise, but I haven't really heard a really good convincing argument from them, and I am more than willing to say they are probably more educated on the topic than I. But all in all, as it stands, at that point in time, I became convinced that the universe was not eternal. The universe had the Big Bang was the beginning of everything. If the Big Bang was the beginning of everything, including time, space, and matter, something that is not affected by time, something that is immaterial, and something that is spaceless, must have made the Big Bang. And you know, as an atheist, and still even as a Christian, I argued with the fact of, how can God be eternal? Eternity seems like something so out there. Well, if that's your thing, if you're struggling with how can God be eternal, well, how can the universe be eternal? That's it. You're either going to believe God's eternal or the universe is eternal. You go ahead, pick which one. None of it really makes any sense, but you get the idea. Then there came probability. I decided to mathematically figure out what are the probabilities that there is a God. And just as I'm browsing YouTube, I'm not exactly looking for anything, but there's a channel out there that I like called ASAP Science. Yes, I know, a Christian liking science. It sounds so taboo, but I assure you it's true. ASAP Science asks the question, can math prove that God exists? Now, math. Now, as we all see, Aaron Ra doesn't give a rat's rear end about anything that isn't science, so this won't work on him probably, but hell, let's go along with it anyways. And they concluded the video by saying, yes, it was actually more probable that a God exists, a God created the universe, but it's even more probable that, you know, more than one God created the universe, more than one God. Like, what they call them, pantheist of gods. Multiple gods created the universe. And I said, well, keep in mind I wasn't set on Christianity at the time of any of this, but at the same exact time, I thought to myself, well, if there's multiple gods, at least one has to have reached out to us. At least one. I mean, I know we're boring, but come on. So I had the Kalam cosmological argument as well as the probability argument. The universe is not eternal. The Big Bang was the start of time, space, and matter. Therefore, something that is timeless, spaceless, and immaterial must be the cause. And, you know, as Cosmic Skeptic said, you know, hold on, let me do my best Cosmic Skeptic impersonation. Where you see Christians, they just insert whatever God, or religious people in general, they just insert whatever God at the end of the Kalam cosmological argument, and there it is. Checkmate, atheist. Yeah, go ahead and rate my impersonation. But, yes, after we finish with the probability and the Kalam cosmological argument, we have quite a lot of work ahead of us, because there's quite a lot of religions in the world. But at the exact same time, I'd like to believe that we can get as close as we can to knowing the one that is true. And that will be left for another video. Tune in next week to see part 2. Because if we don't try getting as close as we possibly can, you're going to end up like Matt Dillahunty. Well, I don't know. Okay, let's see if we can't take this one step closer than he has. Links to certain videos such as the ASAP Science video and a video better explaining the Kalam cosmological argument will be in the description below. Be sure to check them out. At the end of the day, however, next time you run into an atheist who tells you there's no reason to believe in God, no evidence at all, you be sure to remind them, I have a question for them. That one question being, do you want to tell me some more BS?